Okay. Ready? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Hold on a minute, Karen.
Yep.
I didn't realize this. It takes a little while to get going. It's setting up the webinar for live, YouTube live.
Okay. Tell me when to go.
Yeah. Okay. Done redirecting to YouTube. All right.
While to get going. It's setting up the webinar for live.
Close that. I hope that hasn't stopped it, but who knows?
It says my window says it's now streaming live on YouTube, so I think we're okay.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're at 20.1.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Take it away, Karen.
Tediosum mihi vehementer erat ad scholas procedere, vel in eis morari, pariter et laboriosum, cum nocturnas amori vigilias et diurna studio conservarem. It was really tedious and equally wearisome for me to go to the schools or to stay there, since I was saving my night watches for love and my daytimes for study.
Mm-hmm.
Quem etiam ita negligentem et tepidum lectio tunc habebat, ut iam nihil ex ingenio, sed ex usu cuncta proferem, nec iam nisi recitator pristinorum essem inventorum, et, si qua invenire liceret, carmina essent amatoria, non philosophiae secreta. At that time, lecturing or a lesson had me careless and lukewarm, so that now I was producing nothing from intelligence or from genius, but from habit, and was nothing but a reciter of things I had made up long ago. And if I had been able to invent anything, it would have been love songs, not secrets of philosophy. Quorum etiam carminum pleraque ad hoc in multis sicut et ipse nosti frequentantur et decantantur regionibus, ab his maxime quos vita similis oblectat. Most of these songs are still performed and chanted in many places, as you yourself also know, especially by those whom a similar life delights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a fascinating thought, isn't it? That there's a whole bunch of like Abelardists out there, who, everybody else thinks he's awful, but there's some cool people who think, yeah, let's do that, right? It's the whole Goliard. I mean, people have associated this, right? Is this right?
Yeah.
With Goliardists and all the Goliardic poetry and.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have anything, a lot of the Goliardic poetry survives associated with pseudonyms, and some of it with really named people. None of it, as far as I know, is actually attached to Abelard's name.
No,
this would certainly seem to be part of the same sort of cultural moment.
Right, but it's kind of cool to have that cultural moment become kind of real here.
Yeah, exactly. I sort of wish, I don't know what sort of well, actually we do have, do we have any hymns by Abelard? I was going to say, I don't know what sort of a poet he would be in the drunken student mode, but.
Right, we do have religious hymns.
Yeah. So he could certainly do quantitative, rhythmic meters, but anyway, it would be nice if we had some Goliardic stuff. Somebody will find a book one day full of the opera omnia of Abelard in Goliardic mode.
It would be interesting to know we could speculate whether he'd be a good love poet, right? I mean, just because he's a great theologian doesn't mean he'd be a great love poet, but maybe he would be.
I have to say there's not much in his prose style that makes me think, gosh, I want to read this guy's poetry. No. His hymns aren't bad, qua hymns. Okay, should I do the next bit?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Quantam autem mestitiam quos gemitus, quae lamenta nostri super hoc scholares assumerant, ubi videlicet hanc animi mei occupationem immo perturbationem praesenserunt, non est facile dicere vel cogitare. It's not easy to say or to imagine how much grief what groans, what laments our students took up over this. That is, when they sensed the preoccupation, nay, rather, the perturbation of my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just imagine the campus gossip. I'm just going to promote Paula and Margaret. And so get ready for that. Oh, I promoted Nora by mistake. I'm sorry, Nora. Stay if you want, but I didn't mean that. I'm not sure if I can unpromote you. I can remove you. Is that what I want to do?
Probably.
All right, I'm going to remove. That seems so evil. But
William, before we go on, there was one point in my own first passage that I wanted to note before we skip past it, which is I was giving you a hard time way back in week 1 about the translation of scola, and I think this first sentence is a good example of the difference between scholas and scholares, because he uses both and they clearly mean slightly different things.
So this means school, right?
School or gathering of scholars.
Right.
Or class or something, as opposed to, because he finally uses scholares when he's talking about the individual guys. So
thanks. I'm sorry about that, Nora. Hi, Paula. Hi, Margaret.
Hi.
Let me see if nobody else. Oh, now I've removed Nora from the whole thing, but I hope.
Oh, jeez.
I hope she'll
figure out
that I didn't mean to.
That's harsh.
I know.
That's exactly what you're afraid of.
Exactly. And she's not even hearing us feel bad. But maybe she'll see it on YouTube.
Exactly.
Anyway, Nora, I don't know who you are, but I feel terrible. But we're all here now, and we're ready to go. We're at 21.1, and Brian, it's Brian's turn.
Okay, so I'll try to untangle this. Quacos eniam iam res tam manifesta decipere poterat, ac neminem credo praeter eum ad cuius ignominiam maxime id spectabat, ipsum vilicet puellae avunculum. For by now, this so flagrant affair was able to escape the notice of few men. And also, I believe, no one except for him, that is to say, the uncle of the young woman, was watching it until the greatest disgrace occurred.
Is that what you're doing with eam ad cuius ignominiam?
Right. Except him must be the uncle, right?
Yep.
Yes, I think it's him to whose disgrace this thing particularly was looking. In other words, the only person I was deceiving was that one who was particularly disgraced by this situation. So that you see I think
so the id is the subject here.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the subject?
Is id spectabat?
Yes, this situation, in other words, id.
Oh, okay.
Looking particularly at the disgrace, the ignominy of him, ad cuius. So literally, to whose disgrace this situation was looking.
Okay, well, I don't think I would have figured it out without some coaching. That was.
I think the problem there is it's actually kind of basic, but it is a real problem when you begin a relative clause in a case that's not nominative, right? So you have to go whose disgrace, and then that's sitting there in the accusative looking for a verb and a subject. Is that right, Jen? You're not.
Yeah, I think also one of the other problems is that I don't think we say this in English exactly with spectabat meaning that, or directly anyway, because it means something like to whose disgrace this situation id was directed or was aiming at. Like it's not exactly was literally looking at anything, and I think that's one of the problems that made that tricky.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I don't think of a inanimate, event or thing watching or observing, but that seems to be the construction here.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. We'll keep. Thank you. Keep going.
Okay, I'll fly ahead here. Cui quidem hoc cum nanolis nanumquam agestum fuiset, credere non poterat tum ut supra memini. So I'll translate up that phrase. Indeed, when this had sometimes been reported to him by some men, he was not able to believe it. Both, as I recalled earlier, kind of an aside there, ut supra memini, propter immoderatam sue neptis amicitiam tum etiam propter ante actae vitae me contentiam cognitam. On account of his immoderate fondness of his own granddaughter, and also because of the continence of my life led before.
Right. It's his niece, but other than that, it's perfect.
Oh, right, niece, sorry.
Right. And by the way, people seem to think she really was his niece, that it's not a how they know that, I don't know, but that's what the books say, that she wasn't really his daughter.
So who has the amicitiam? The uncle or Abelard?
He really liked his niece, so he wouldn't believe this thing about her.
Okay.
You know how that goes.
Yeah. Okay, one other question. Ut supra memini, what kind of ut is that?
Just ut with indicative, as I remembered above.
Okay.
As I mentioned above.
Okay.
We forget that ut can take the indicative and be kind of normal, right? We tend to go into panic mode. Right.
The ut of panic and the ut of not panic.
Right. Good, Bob. Keep going. Brian, sorry.
That's right. 21.2. Non enim facile dehis, quos plurimum diligimus turpitudinem suspicamur, nec in vehementi dilectiones turpis suspitionis labes potest inesse. For not easily concerning such people whom we esteem greatly, we suspect turpitude. And this phrase really I found puzzling. Nor was nasty disgrace of suspicion able to be involved in the case of such intense affection. So it seems like labes and turpis must be the subject here.
I think it's the labes turpis suspiciones, the disgrace of consisting of this disgusting suspicion, right? That's the subject, and that isn't possible. It can't be in violent love, right? If you really love someone, you can't have that disgusting suspicion about them.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
translating this to the modern world is so incredibly scary, right? This is just like, this is why sexual harassment claims don't go forward, because you can't believe it about somebody that you like. And therefore, then, so that's what happens. Anyway, keep going. I think that's, is that all, is the Latin clear? Good, keep going.
Yes, okay, so we'll move ahead then.
Mhm.
Unde et illud es beati Hieronymi, I think it means that's Jerome, right?
Mhm.
In epistola ad Castricianum. Solemus mala domus nostre scire novissimi ac liberorum ac coniugam vitia bicinis canentibus ignorare. And whence that was said in the epistle of the Blessed Jerome to the Castricia.
It's just to a guy named Castricianus.
Oh, okay, so it was a person, not a
Person.
Okay. We are the last to know evil things in our house and are unaware of the vices of the licentious and consorts while our neighbors are crowing.
Right. I like crowing. That's great. It's liberi, remember, is another word for children. I mean, the word for children, right? So liber, it's just the vices of our wives and children while our neighbors are crowing.
Okay, so I was looking for, yeah, I found another translation where it had kind of a negative.
Right. Well, I mean,
connotation.
it's clear. I mean, liber
But
means free. They get, children are called free, the liberi, because they're children and therefore free. And then there's all, isn't that right?
No.
I think they're called liberi because they're your free-born children, as
Oh,
opposed
really?
to your slave-born children. That's my understanding.
I thought it was because they're happily playing in the street, but you're talking.
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
think
so
it's
Nicer image.
No,
though.
it's because they're freeborn children as opposed to slave children.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds much more
Legitimate
Roman.
children.
Yes, that makes much more sense. It just shows.
Yeah, so
Sounds much more Roman.
Yeah.
Liberi means free, as in not a slave.
Right. Right.
yeah, I had kind of oscillated there because it seemed possible that it might relate to the adjective liber, libera, liberum, which includes licentiousness and idle as kind of its meanings, and conjugum could be consort. So I was kind of thinking that this is about kind of all the evil in your community that was occurring.
Yeah. No, I think it's just why it's the wives and kids.
Right, but the wives and kids, actually, it's a very different sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes perfect sense. You don't believe evil about them, even when all the neighbors are talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
Or as you say, crowing.
Okay, sed quod novissime scitur utique sciri quandoque contigit, et quod omnes deprehendunt, non est facile unum latere. But what was known last inevitably comes to pass someday that it is known.
Mm-hmm.
And what everyone caught red-handed is not easily hidden from one person.
Mm-hmm. I guess technically, isn't it not easy for one person to hide? Is that right?
Okay, so one person, it's not easy for.
I think Brian's right. It's to hide from one person. It's latere, meaning like to escape the notice of.
Yeah,
exactly.
Before.
Yes, that makes. I think that I'm sure you're right. So unum is just the direct object of latere.
Latere, yeah.
Right. Thank you.
What about deprehendent? I took that like comprehend. Can it mean that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
So
grasp what they understand, what they know.
what everyone already knows. It's hard to keep one person from finding out.
Right.
Okay.
Good.
All right. So finally, sic itaque pluribus e volutis mensibus et de nobis accidit. So thus, in a few months, it happened with all disclosed about us. So I thought of.
Where's all disclosed?
I thought evolutis was kind of an ablative absolute for unfolded or disclosed.
Yes, but with well, it goes with mensibus pluribus, with many months unfolding. You know, the months are rolling down through the ages.
Oh, okay.
So it is an ablative absolute, and thus, with as more months rolled on, that happened to us, or it happened about us. In our case.
All right. That
So what
eventually.
about et?
Sorry.
What is et?
Also.
Us too.
It's been happening. So it happens in general that sooner or later everybody gets found out, and lo and behold, as months rolled on, it happened to us.
My dictionary said evolutis could also refer to like the unrolling of the weaving of fates as well. It might be reference to fates, the fates unrolling, and as fate would have it. Maybe it's a usage that I saw in the dictionary.
I'm tempted to say, Jen, that months just roll, right?
I mean, isn't it It's one of the. It's not Latin doesn't like metaphors, but I do think this is a metaphor. It's the calendar rolls out like a scroll. Like the year rolls like a scroll.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I think it's used pretty regularly for time rolling on.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Right. But I hadn't thought about the scroll, and maybe that's why we say time rolls on, because the Romans said it, and they said it because they had scrolls.
I mean, I do think it has to that it has to be bound up in a scroll metaphor, but
yeah,
it's a normal way to say it.
Right. Good. Any questions? Thank you, Brian. Let me see if Chad has anything to say. No, that's nothing. That's just saying hello and hello. And I mean, because of losing Nora, but then getting her back again.
You know what, I think before we go on to the next, I think we could give et a little more force if we felt like it. So it could be, it happened even to us. Also to us is sort of, I think it's basic meaning, but it even got us too, is the sense.
Right.
So I wouldn't leave it out of the translation because it does have a bit of, yep,
right.
Came around.
They got us. Right. All right, great. So we're now at 21.3. Greg.
Okay. O quantus in hoc cognoscendo dolor avunculi, quantus in separatione amantium dolor ipsorum, quantus sum erubescentia confusus. Oh, how great the pain of the uncle in knowing this. How great the pain of the lovers in separation, in their own separation. How I was confused with shame. Quanta contritione super afflictione puelle sum afflictus. How much contrition about the affliction of the girl was I afflicted or afflicted me? Quantos horrores ipse de veracundia mea distinguit estis. And how greatly the fires of shame burned in my disgrace, or were sustained in my disgrace, or the heat of shame, the heat of disgrace.
I think the subject is ipsa, she, like the girl herself.
Thank you. I was blanking on that.
So what great passions of sadness she herself sustained concerning my shame.
Right. She's worried about him being embarrassed.
Yeah.
Which is nice of her.
Okay, yeah, that does make more sense.
Yeah, but that ipsa just sitting there kind of all by itself is sneaky.
It's
Well, it makes you think that it should go with Verecundia because they're like next to each other, but then you don't have a subject for Sustainuit and
right. And then and the bookending the sentence with its direct object is quite clever, right? Quantos estus is the direct object, and everything else just sits there in the middle.
Yep.
So can we go through the translation of that sentence again? So she's holding back or supporting him or something, his grief?
She herself sustained such great fires of grief.
With regard to my
about
my shame, my what do we have for Verecundia? My good reputation is really what it's about.
Yeah, sustineo there means like underwent or sustained isn't really a great English word for it, but
right. Underwent is good. Or endured even.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going, Greg.
Okay. Neuter quod sibi sed quod alteri contigurat querebatur, neuter sua sed alterius plangebat incommoda. Whether for herself, whether
neither was complaining about what happened to himself slash herself, right? To themselves. But they were complaining, each one was complaining about what happened to the other. That's very condensed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
they're such magnanimous people.
It is very sweet of them.
Separatio autem hoc corporum maxima erat copulatio animorum, et negata sui copia amplius amorum ascendebat, et Verecundiae transacta iam passio in Verecundiores redebat. Tantoque Verecundiae minor extiderat passio, quanto convenientior videbatur actio.
Yeah, good. Before you do that, we need to go back to the end of the first sentence, the previous sentence. So neither one was complaining about himself, but they were complaining about the other. Neither one was bewailing sua, their own stuff, but they were wailing their own incommoda, their own difficulties. But they were bewailing the difficulties of the other. Okay.
Yes.
And now you get onto your sentence, separatio.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird concept. In fact, it's paradoxical.
Mm-hmm.
Right. However,
the separation
of bodies
of the bodies However, the separation of the bodies, the greatest was, or I think the conjugation or the union of the spirits was greater than the separation of bodies. Is not the grammatical transcription, but I think that's what he's getting at.
Right.
The union of their souls was greater, was stronger than the separation of their bodies.
Yeah, well, it's just much more dramatic than that, right? That the separation of the bodies was the greatest joining of the souls, right? So, I mean, you can make that more prosaic. The further apart they were, the more they were connected. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, you know, big time. But really what it is saying is the separation of the bodies was the joining of the minds. It's very cool.
Yeah, it was the greatest joining of the minds. Et negata sui copia amplius amorem ascendebat.
Do you need?
And I wasn't sure about copia.
The availability.
Okay.
Anyone got a good word for copia? The
abundance, the sort of availability actually sort of works.
Mm-hmm. So the availability sui of himself / herself, right, of themselves, having been denied, accendebat amplius amorem.
Love mounted even higher.
Right. It
made love higher,
hotter. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't that right? I mean, it's a fire metaphor. So the ability of each one, the unavailability of each one was firing up more their love, because absence makes the heart grow fonder. Right?
Veracundiae transacta iam passio in veracundiores redebat. And the as you put it, the intensity of shame having passed, I'd say passion returned them shameless. Passion rendered them shameless. Tantoque veracundiae minor extitueret passio, quanto convenientior videbatur actio. And insofar as the pain of shame was lesser, so much convenientior, the action seemed, so much more suitable the action seemed, or acceptable.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible at all, if we go back to negata sui copia, is sui referring to amorem there? I know it doesn't quite work, but isn't that what he's getting at, though?
The means of it, yeah.
I thought it was just copia with a genitive. So, like, if I could get to you, I would have copia tui, right? But when you're separated from your lover, you don't have copia sui, right? And I think it works I think this is this ambiguity that Latin can do. I'm looking at Jen, that it refers to both of them at the same time, right? It's the availability of him / her, right? Is what, having been denied, that's what kindles the love.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, it's not exactly grammatical to have sui refer to them anymore because they're not the subject anymore. And I think, Daniel, that's what you're trying to fix. But I mean, it wouldn't you can occasionally have sui, the reflexive, refer to the direct object instead, but it really shouldn't. And I think like William's interpretation is certainly the way I understood this.
Just you have one of those beautiful medieval Latin moments where you have two grammatically incorrect sort of interpretations, and it just seems to me if it's the separation is actually the greatest joining, then isn't it the absence of love making love greater? Isn't that the sort of paired paradox? I don't know. I mean, because it is the denied abundance, if I'm right, the denied abundance of love makes love, sort of kindles it more sort of hotly.
But it's not their love that's being denied, it's their ability to see each other.
Yeah, well, that's the...
Which is what sui copia, understanding it as the denied availability of each other. Like that's what's been denied, not their amor.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. It's that certainly makes sense as well. So just inject the ambiguity.
I think what's puzzling us or / me is class. I mean, you shouldn't use sui in that ambiguous way, should you? You should say alterius ubi or something like that. The love of each, the availability of each one of the two.
Yeah.
Right, or alterius, right, or duorum, right, or both. I can't. You shouldn't just say of him / her, right? That is weird.
I mean, the sui, from a medieval perspective, there's nothing at all weird about having sui be used in a loose sense where you'd expect just the I mean, it's not weird to use the reflexive where you'd expect a demonstrative pronoun. That's totally normal. But it's not normal in a way that solves this problem. That solves the question of whether it refers to sort of their mutual persons or to love. I mean, having sui have as its referent the accusative object in that clause is tidy, but not definitively the medieval answer. Having sui not refer to the subject is not a problem. I mean, from a 12th century perspective, not a problem.
Right. Well, actually, it does make me happier that you're okay with those aspects of it.
Yeah.
Before we go on, I wanted just to point out that in vera condiores is comparative, which makes a difference, right? The passion rendered us more unchaste than we would have been otherwise, right? More
shameless.
All right, more shameless. Yes, thank you. Shamelesser.
It balances out then with convenientior.
Yes. Right. Yes. No, it's clearly very carefully constructed. I mean, he's clearly having fun telling this story in a very literary way. All right. Thanks, Greg.
Okay.
All right. So we're at 22. Bob, you ready?
Okay.
Want to do this?
Actum loquique immobilis, ex quorum morte venera deprehensis, poetica narra fabula. Thus, the poetical tale, that which the poetical tale relates about the catching of Mars and Venus also happened in catching us.
I didn't hear that last word, Bob. What also happened? What? Oh, in
also happened was also done in catching us.
Yes.
The same thing. The same elaborate efforts that Vulcan did. Non multo autem post, puella se conque pissa comperet, cum summa exultatione mihi superhuc, illico scripsit, consulens, ite hoc ipsa faciendum deliberarem. But not much later, the girl learned that she had become pregnant. And with the highest exultation, she immediately wrote to me about this, asking for my advice about what I thought should be done about, what I myself thought should be done about this. Adam itaque nocte, avunculo eius absente, sicut nos convixeramus, eam de domo avunculi fructum sustili, et in patria meam sine mora transmissi. Thus, on a certain night, just as we had arranged, while her uncle was away, I furtively removed her from the uncle's house, and without delay, brought her across into my homeland.
Good.
Ubi apud sororem meam tantiu conversat est, donec pareret masculum, quem astrolabium nominat, where she lived with my sister long enough until she gave birth to a boy whom she called Astrolabe.
Yeah, and he didn't grow up weird or anything.
Not at all.
I mean,
Can I ask about the geography? Remind me where we are and where he's from. And
he's from Brittany.
okay, and he's in Paris.
He's in Paris. I mean, she's in Paris, and his home is the very west eastern part of Brittany, almost in France. Well, almost in what is now non-Breton France. But in, wait a minute, Karen, in the old days, Francia was the area around Paris.
Right.
So here it means, I think, just I don't know if it means Brittany particularly or just the region around his home. You know, he's from a little town near Nantes. I'm going to say this aloud, Nantes.
Yeah.
Hey, there's me talking French on the internet. Nantes.
Nantes.
So I think it just means around there, right?
Right.
Because he doesn't seem to be a Breton nationalist or anything.
Right.
So it's not like I'm taking him to taking her to Brittany where life is good. Because later on at the end, he complains that he has to live in Brittany and he can't understand the language and he hates it. Okay, good. So now we're at 23.1. Margaret?
Right, 23.1. Avunculus autem eius post ipsius recessum, quasi in insaniam conversus, quanto estuaret dolore, quanto efficaretur pudore, nemo nisi experiendo cognosceret. But her uncle, after his return, burned with so much grief, as if thrown into madness. He was afflicted with such shame. All right, I'll come back and fix that.
Yeah.
No one can know unless by experiencing it.
Right. And now you actually know what to do with those two quantos.
Right. So no one could know unless they'd experienced it, with how much sorrow he burned and with how much shame he was.
Yes. Good.
Quid autem in me ageret, quas mihi tenderet insidias ignorabat. Si me interficeret, so in aliquo corpus meum delibitaret, id potissimum metuebat, ne delectissima neptis hoc in patria mea plecteretur. Ignorabat, he didn't know what he could do against me.
Good.
Or what trap he could lay for me.
Good.
If he killed me, or if he incapacitated my body in some way, he feared most powerfully that his beloved niece would be punished in my country, in Brittany. I'm not sure what to do with a hoke.
Well, I'm just reading my own note. I don't know if this is right. Ablative of cause for this reason.
Yeah.
Okay, by this. Yeah, okay. That's right.
Does anyone have a better idea?
How I translated it.
No, I think that's exactly right.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
I
guess I don't like it just being out there, just a preposition all by itself, you know. Anyway.
And I guess Waleba here with Militanis not means something like he wasn't strong enough, or he wasn't he wasn't able to.
Yep.
He wasn't hale enough to capture me, and to, oh, hold on. Okay, he wasn't able to seize me and shut me up somewhere, with me being unwilling to shut me unwilling up somewhere. Since I had prepared for this, or about this for myself, plurimum, quite a bit. And then I took quod as because I would not hesitate to attack him more quickly if he was strong enough to try, or if he dared.
Have you made a Greddy passive? Greddy is passive, right? I think I took it to be because I didn't doubt that he would be swiftly attacked.
It's deponent.
Right.
A Gredior.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't doubt that he would attack swiftly if he could, or if he dared.
So Eum is the subject of Agredi in the indirect
Yes.
statement.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Good. Thank you. Any comments, questions, doubts?
It's interesting to me, the portrayal of the uncle throughout this So it's not actually, he's mocked, but after the sort of early mocking, he's sort of, Abelard isn't mocking him by the end. He actually seems to feel badly for what he did to this man, to a certain extent. He's portrayed as not being the bad guy. He's not the farcical villain anymore.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I find odd is this notion that you can fall in love with someone, take them to your home country, and then, but you would still then punish them if someone punished you, right? In other words, it's
maybe he meant his family, or not Abelard himself, but maybe members.
Well,
of
right, but even so, you'd think they would say, well, we don't like her much, but he seems to like her. We shouldn't hurt her because it's not her fault, and but there's this. She's almost like a hostage.
It looks like a hostage exchange. The uncle has Abelard more or less as a hostage in his house, and the family has Eloise.
Yeah, I know, but it's.
And I don't know. Maybe I've watched The Godfather too many times, but when somebody messes with your family, it doesn't matter whether it makes sense or not. You do something. You have to do it. It's a code.
All right.
Well, I think also don't forget, however old she is, she's a Puella. I know she's not really a girl, but even if she's 20, we're still, before we redefine potential wives as not chattel, both of her uncle and as a hostage or a pawn on the other side, to use her to get back at men in a men's fight, I think they wouldn't think twice about.
Well, it is also the uncle's fear, which I don't think Abelard is saying definitely would have happened.
That's true. That's true. And the only reason I sort of am more puzzled by it is, of course, we're told that he loves her very much, right? I mean, that's the whole point. It's not just he's not some random male-female relationship. It's the iconic love story of the Middle Ages, practically. And so it's a little weird to suddenly have this transactional thing going on. But you're right, Jameson. It's just it could be just totally what he was thinking.
In the Germanic Celtic cultures, there's a lot of emphasis on family.
Mm-hmm.
And she's family, but only by marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So that might have something to do with it.
Well, at the moment, it's not even marriage. It's
have you ever? It's kind of almost a reverse of. Have you ever heard of the Harvey brothers from late colonial North Carolina? They're often called the America's first serial killers.
Oh, good.
Because they went on a very extended killing spree of several years long, and they had wives who would be caught occasionally because they left them behind when they had to flee a little too quickly from the authorities. And these women had children with them, and actually one of the oldest brother actually killed one of his own daughters because he was tired of her crying by smashing her head against a tree. But every time these women were caught, there was a debate. Are these women in on this? I mean, is it like a Manson girls kind of thing? Or are they just victims? Because it wasn't clear what circumstances, had they been kidnapped or what. So they would let these women go. And of course, the women would immediately go after these guys, because if they didn't, the brothers would come back and find them. So it became very, very unclear not only how complicit these women were, but how much choice they could possibly have. So it's possible that there's something going on here where it's perceived that she's a hostage because she is the wife who's coming into his family, and she represents her family. And so if her family does anything to his family, it's perceived that she's in on it. Does that make sense?
There's a sort of macabre logic about it. If you're messing with Abelard because you value this good daughter so much, here's what's left of what you value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just like the love part.
Yeah, when it really comes down to it, if we didn't have her letters, we wouldn't be aware of how strong Heloise was and how into this she actually was. She wanted this marriage.
Right.
Because Abelard and her uncle certainly don't care about what she wants. You know, Abelard feels bad about corrupting her, but that, you know, he doesn't really perceive her as someone who would actually want to be married to him because it's so shameful and it's so scandalous. And if she really wanted to do that, that would make her a whore by 12th century standards. So she's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, by her own husband.
Who is only concerned about keeping his status as a teacher intact.
Yep. Bingo.
Well, yes. All right. I still want them to be in love, at least
for a little while.
Remember, this is decades later he's writing. He probably wrote
it's still inappropriate. I realize that. I just think it would be nice if the most famous love story of the Middle Ages actually had love in it. Anyway, we're at 23.2. Mona.
Okay. Tandem ego eius immararatai anxietati ad modum compatiens, et de dolo cum fecerat amor, tanquam de summa productione, me ipsum vehementer accusans, conveni hominem supplicando et promittendo, quamcumque super hoc emendationem ipse constitueret. So I'll translate this part, just this part of the sentence. At length, Tandem, fully having sympathy or pity for his, meaning the uncle's, excessive anxiety, and strongly blaming me myself because of the grief, quem fecerat amor, which love had wrought, as though tanquam de summa productione, as though from the greatest betrayal, or as if it was the greatest betrayal. I met the man for the purpose of begging, promittendo, and promising whatever emendation he himself, constitueret, might decide super hoc, whatever he himself might decide concerning this matter. Nec uli mirabile id videre asserens, quicumque vem amoris expertus fuisset, et qui, quanto ruina sumos quoque viros, ab ipso statem humani generis ex ordio mulieris diecerit, memoria retineret. Nec uli nec uli memorabile id videri asserens, claiming that it would not seem extraordinary uli to anyone. Everyone who had experienced the power of love and memoria retineret, and who retained in memory with what great destruction women have thrown great men to, statum, instantly down to the ground, or cast them down to the ground, because of that thing itself, and she's talking about love. From the inception of the human race.
That's all very good, Mona, and very helpful. And where did you get that thing itself?
Because of that thing itself. Let me see, David Memoria Regenerate. ipso, ab ipso, from that thing itself.
Oh, doesn't that go with exordio from the very?
Oh, yeah,
from the
okay.
very
I was looking at exordio by itself from the very from that very beginning itself of the human race.
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah. Good. All right.
One other little thing in that sentence, way back at the beginning, dolo, that's not the same as dolore. That's one of those things that always gets people. It's dolus, trick. It's not
right. Deceit, like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he's accusing himself concerning the trick he had played
Right. Okay.
on her or
As
the
if
uncle.
from the highest, just for the highest betrayal.
Right.
Okay.
And does Quicumque and Qui Quanta Ruina, do they have uli as an antecedent? It wouldn't be amazing to anyone, whoever.
Yes.
You all take it that way?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Okay. Keep going on. Good.
Okay. Atque ut amplius eam mitigarem superquam sperari pocerat. Obtuli me e satisfacere, eam scilicet quam corruperam, mihi matrimonio copulando, dum modo id secreto fieret, ne famae detrimentum incurrere. And in order that I might appease him beyond that which he was able to hope, I offered truly that I make amends to him, namely by joining her, whom I had corrupted or seduced, to me, joining her whom I had corrupted to me in matrimony.
Good.
Marriage. Sensit ille et tam sua quam suorum fide.
Did you do the dumodo?
I'm sorry, I missed that part. Ne famae detrimentum incurrerem, provided that it was done in secret, lest I might incur damage to my reputation.
Good.
Sensit ille et tam sua quam suorum fide et osculus eam quam requisivi concordia mecum iniit, quo me facilius proderet. And that one, the uncle, agreed. And concordia mecum iniit, he entered this pact with me, which I had asked for, as much with his own good faith as with that of his own people, and with kisses, by which he betrayed me more easily. Kind of like the feudal, when the vassal took the oath from the Lord, gave the oath of fidelity to the Lord. It was always sealed with a kiss.
So that's all. I think that's all perfect. The one thing though is notice the quo with the subjunctive, with which he could might more easily betray me.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
Oh yeah. Well, there was also that allusion to hurting to weakening the body, right? So there was a little foreshadowing there. That's great, Mona. So we're at 24.
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Illico ego ad patriam meam reversus. Or should I do the dehortatio superdicta puella annuptis first? Hello?
Sorry, say that slowly.
Should I say should I do the De Hortatio Supradicta Puella a Nuptis first? Looks like the title of the chapter.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just ignoring that, so I didn't know what you were talking about. Sure, translate that.
Dissuasion of the said girl from nuptials or from marrying.
Yeah, of the aforementioned girl.
Yeah, I bet it's the said girl, but the aforementioned. Right, yeah,
aforementioned girl. Yes, I like dissuasion. Right, the opposite of an encouragement from marriage.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Elico ego ad patriam meam reversus. At once I to my country returned. Amicam reduxi ut uxorem facerem. I led back a friend in order that I make a wife.
Right. I wouldn't say a friend. I mean, this is the one we've been talking about.
Okay. Well,
right.
The friend, yeah.
Right.
Illa tamen hoc minime approbante. He nevertheless this very little approving.
Did you say she?
She, sorry, she should be.
Right. So notice the ablative absolute, and this is where you want a long mark, right? With that one, least of all, approving hardly at all, right?
Yeah.
In other words, she didn't want to get married.
Yeah. Okay. Imo penitus duabus de causis dissuadente. By no means here for the two from the cause dissuading.
There's no negative there, right? With her dissuading, in fact, imo.
Oh, in fact is emo, okay.
Deep down dissuading for two reasons. Penitus is a kind of global meaningless word that just means a lot, right?
Okay.
And it kind of seems to come and go more or less for emphasis. But in fact, so with her, however, not approving of getting married, and in fact, actively, not only did she not approve, she was actively dissuading for two reasons.
Okay. For, of course, on account of the peril, because of my disgrace, sorry. Tam sindicet pro pericula, lo, quam pro dedecore meo. Okay, which was so, of course, on account of the peril. What?
I don't know, there was some noise somewhere.
You're weird, you're repeating.
Yeah, why is that happening?
I don't know, and I'm doing it too. It stopped. Okay. So of course, on account of the peril, because of my disgrace.
Right. So just notice those are the two reasons, right? There are these two causes. There's both the danger, and there's the fact that he would be disgraced.
Right.
That's a tam quam, right? Isn't that like a correlative thing?
Right.
Yeah.
But here it really just means both and, right? I mean, it's so much as because of.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Jurabat illum nulla unquam satisfactione super hoc placare posse. She swore she could not ever be reconciled to satisfaction beyond this.
What are you doing with illum? She swore that that thing.
That thing, okay.
Could never be.
Has to be masculine, not neuter.
Right. Right. Thank you. That he. But what's the ullum refer to? I'm blanking out.
It's the uncle.
Oh. The uncle.
Sicut post modum cognitum est.
Right. Could never be placated with any satisfaction about this.
Yeah. Well, then the last part of the sentence makes perfect sense.
It does make perfect sense.
Sicut post modum cognitum est, as was later known.
Right.
Querebat etiam quam de me gloriam habitura esset. She asked also what glory from me could be had. Et se.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm getting tired. But this, what glory habitura, that what she would have.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Habitura esset?
Well, esset habitura. So she was, it's a future active participle with the imperfect subjunctive of the verb to be.
Okay.
So she would, what glory she would be about to have.
Yeah, because there's no future subjunctive.
Right.
So you can't say, like, you know, because in a direct question, she would say, quam gloriam habebo, what glory will I have? But because you can't say that, you use this periphrastic.
Right.
Okay. And de me would be from me. Right?
Right. What he, yeah, what glory she would get from him, Abelard.
Yeah.
Right. Cum me ingloriosum efficeret. When she had made me inglorious.
Yes, when she, I mean, she would make me imperfect subjunctive.
Okay.
When she would make me inglorious. Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that word, ingloriosum.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Et se et me parite humiliaret. And if it should humiliate she and me together.
She would humiliate, isn't,
Yeah.
she would humiliate herself and me.
Yeah.
Is that right? Well, sorry, you were frowning, Jen, so I just.
Yeah, she's the subject. It has to be that with the say.
Okay.
So it's reflective.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Quantas ab mundus penas exigera deberat. How many punishments from her ought the world exact? Okay.
How many penalties should the world exact from her?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If she banished so much light from it.
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to say it in Latin. Si tantam ei lucernam alferet.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Quante maledictiones, quanta damna ecclesiae. How many maledictions, how many damnations ecclesiastical?
Mm-hmm. I think they're just damages to the church. Right. I mean, yours sounds way more violent.
Well, damna is usually a pretty nasty term.
Well, it just means loss. Right?
Well, I'm just thinking when
it's not damnatio, it's just damna.
Yeah.
So the first one's certainly violent. How many maledictions, how many losses to the church? How many, and then keep going.
Okay. Quante philosophorum lacrimae hoc matrimonium essent sequitur. Let me find my place again. How much weeping of the philosophers should follow from this matrimony?
Right, literally just follow upon this matrimony. They would
Follow this matrimony, yeah, sorry. That's
Mhm.
the accusative. Quam indecens, quam lamentabile esset. It was as indecent as it was lamentable.
It's still more of those rhetorical questions. I guess they're rhetorical indirect questions, right?
Okay, so more like, was it not indecent? Was it not lamentable?
Well, would it not be? How indecent and how lamentable would it not be? Or would it be? And we would expect him to say if, but he says that.
Ut quem omnibus natura crea verat, whom nature created with all things. That whom nature created with all things.
It could be with all things, but I think it's for everybody. I mean, that's the point. This is a really, Abelard has a very high opinion of himself, that he nature created for everybody.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out it. I mean, I knew it meant, you know, with all these talents for the world he has, it was just like, but I was trying to figure out from a grammatical point of view where he was going with this. Okay. Uni me femina dicarem. I should dedicate myself to one woman. Et turpitudini tante, hang on, subicarem. And to how many turpitudes did I subject myself? I know stealthinesses and stuff like that. I like turpitude. It's a good word.
Yeah, but it's singular, right? I would subject myself to such turpitude.
I said turpitude, plural, yes?
Yeah, it's singular.
It's singular?
Right, it's turpitudini, I mean, that's classical dative.
Okay.
Tanta,
yeah, right, yep.
Modifying dative singular.
Turpitude.
Yes.
How much turpitude?
All right, we're almost there. 24.2. You want to keep going? Did people get this far?
No, I think this was the last one.
Yeah, you stopped at 24.1 tonight.
Oh, okay. I marked it wrong. Good. Well, then we're done.
Okay.
Anyone have any words of wisdom? Never fall in love?
No,
Never fall in love with
agree with
Abelard.
I think it's hard to sustain any feeling that Abelard really was in love with Eloise. He's self-centered to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is in terms of his, reputation and.
But that's her. It's her words about him. He's the fool, right? He casts himself as not knowing that she's the one that knows that he's going to be screwed over by this. He doesn't know. He's ignorant. He believes the uncle. He believes he's safe, but she's the one that has the truth. This whole thing is just her. It's kind of crazy. The De Hortatio is a really interesting section of this piece because it's her response.
Mm-hmm.
What word did you say? What word did you say? Deportatio?
The De Hortatio.
De Hortatio, the dissuasion.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. De Hortatio. Yeah.
She's worried about his reputation, so she says.
Right. Are we too cheaply cynical to say that if my girlfriend says, I can't marry you because it would be depriving the world that you created for all mankind, wasted on one person, and he's saying, well, yeah, that's what she said, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Wonderfully said that.
It seems like something Heloise would have said, though.
Yeah, sure.
Well, she certainly didn't want to go to a convent.
But if she did say it, he could still not pass it on.
That's true.
Yeah.
There are other ways of putting it than that way. But maybe I'm being too modern again. I don't really have my finger on the pulse of, what are we in, 12th century?
12th century.
Yeah, that one. Wait, It is the 12th century,
It
isn't it?
is the 12th century.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay. Right.
It's like they're all taken too with the wonders of the East. I mean, they're all philosophical West, and yet they're both taken by what seem to be the scientific discoveries brought to you courtesy of the Arabs, you know, in the Eastern world.
Wait, who? Abelard and Eloise, or just the
Yeah. Well, they
The
named
whole
their
astrolabe
child.
thing.
Yeah, they named their child, or she named him Astrolabe.
Oh yeah.
Like today, what would they call him? iPod or something?
There's probably a child named iPod out there, and
There might be.
Right.
That's a little scary.
Well, what about
We're actually probably due for the hipster revival of Astrolabe as a kid's name. Because we've now run through all the grandmother names.
Or dogs? We could call our next dogs Abelard. I mean, Astrolabe.
Astrolabe. Yeah.
Astrolabe.
Yeah.
All right. On that cheerful note, I'm going to end. Does anyone else have anything wise to say? No?
No.
Heads up? No
Nope.
comments?
No.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you
Thank
on
you.
Tuesday if you're around. Well, anyway, we'll do it again on Tuesday, and we'll be back on schedule. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good week.
All right.